I'm so excited
Okay.
about this, guys. I'm loving this. I'm
Good.
loving the new stuff. The new music is absolutely. We can swear on this interview, by the way. The music kicks ass. It is so fucking good. Like the videos, the singles. I've been a fan since
I'm so
2019 when
excited.
I
I'm glad you
discovered
like
you
it.
guys. Oh God, I've been a fan since
Yeah.
2019 when I discovered you guys, and man, I'm loving every minute of it, guys. It's so
Cool.
good.
Right
You've got
on. Yeah,
you
we're
got
really
two,
proud of it.
yes, two new singles out so far.
Yeah.
Lowlands, Run for Your Life. The videos very cinematic. The it's a whole full circle. The imagery, the music, the videos. Tell me a little bit about Lowlands with that one. Let's start there. That song is so addictive.
I mean, we wrote it over the pandemic. It started off as like you ever have one of those moments where you think, I should have said that. I should have said that. You know what I
Every
mean? When you're
day.
like mad at someone every day, right? And I figured that that was something that a lot of people experience is walking away from a situation and being like sitting in the car or being in the shower and being like, you know something? You know what? Guess what? And having that moment. So Lowlands started off as a journal rant of like, you know, the only thing that makes you special is me. Blah 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 blah. The stuff you would never say to anybody in real life. So it was like it's my love that makes you special, right? It's my skin that makes you real. And so like I just started writing all this stuff and I was listening to like a lot of really cool swampy stuff. I was listening to randomly. I'd never been a fan and somehow I got onto Florence and the Machine radio.
Okay.
And I loved how in her choruses she sang them. They weren't wordy. It was just her like holding a note or singing on a vowel and I just went, "Oh, it's so good. It's giving." And so between me and Chuck and uh we came in with our guitar player who normally is very good about just like, okay, here's what we're doing, right? And he was the one that went, "Hey man, instead of singing all this stuff, why don't you just sing home?" And when a guitar player, especially that's like usually quiet, kind of like taking it all in, Chris goes, "I don't know, why don't you just sing home?" And Chuck and I went, "That's it." So that really turned it around. And every time I heard it, which is kind of my creative process anyway, um, you do a lot of driving in LA, and I was driving around listening to it, and I just pictured the image of this woman, and I didn't know if it was going to be me or not, that you could tell was beautiful at one point, right? And now it's just like almost the golem that's left behind, kind of like what's really behind all that. And all of these like ideas started amalgamating like into this idea of like, what if it was like once upon a time in a land far away, there was the most beautiful queen you'd ever seen. And then like it just devolves into this like puddle of just like monster palooza. Like I wanted her to be like the bride of Frankenstein, but drowned, and that's sort of what was banging around in my head. And the great thing about Beasto is nobody really says no, which is good for me. So I said, "Hey, I've got this insane idea for this video, and we're going to rent a room that rains on the inside." And Chuck said, "What time do I show up?" So
Yeah. You know,
it turned out great.
and just quickly, just on that song, because it ended up becoming one of my favorite tracks on the record. And Calico and I really worked real hard on that tune because she had a really solid melody. And we were listening to a lot of different music at that time, and the melody was really solid, and the story was really solid. And we got together with Keith Nelson, who kind of helped us structure
Okay.
it a little bit. Like we looked at this song in so many different ways. I think it's really the one song on the whole record that we really dissected and tried different things, different approaches to the verses, pre-chorus, choruses, all those things. until we really found that we had it right structurally, and the arrangement was where we wanted it to be. We got together with Chris Harms to finish the album, and production wise, we weren't quite sold on the production of Lowlands at that point when we were working with Chris Harms. And Chris says, "Hey, let me take it home and see what I can do with it." And I think the next day, actually, to be honest with you, he came back and he had the production and a bridge that he had written for it as well. We loved it so much that in Calico, had this story in mind, and she was, so. She knew it so well that she instantly just wrote the lyrics for the bridge, and it kind of like bookend the whole story in a way. It made it for a really great writing experience, because there were so many creatives at hand, and all collectively just moving towards one goal, which was creating a song like Lowlands. And again, it's sort of our take on, swampy rock and roll with the digital, element to it that gives it a little bit more of a, to me, a little bit more of an edge.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I just showed it to my 90-year-old grandpa. Like my 90-year-old grandpa just saw it. And after he watched the video, he was in the kitchen washing the coffee cups, and I could hear him humming. I went, it's a winner. If the
That's how you
90-year-old
know you
grandpa
got it. That's how you know you got it. Great. That's awesome. But then you got Run for Your Life, two completely different sounding songs though. And that's what I love about Beasto's music with what you guys do is even on We Are, nothing sounds the same as the song before it. They're all so different, all of their own identity, and they're all just such an adrenaline rush and just an adrenaline pumping just song. And that's the same thing with Run for Your Life. That one's completely different.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that's the idea we go in with every record that we make is, we want to get to a point to where we, we're going to want to pick and choose these songs to create a set list, to create something visually. So we got to have different tempos and different vibes. And I think just as an artist, it's important to approach albums that way, to give yourself some variety and build it makes for a really interesting story. It's like instead of just reading a romance novel, you're reading a romance, sci-fi, thriller comedy. It's like it's all right there. And I think that the great thing about Run for Your Life was it was the first song that Chris Harms and I wrote together. It was our first attempt at, hey, let's see if we can write together first. And that was the very first song. And and I went, well, I don't know about you, Chris, but I'm sold on this because I think we're definitely on the same page. I instantly, heard it all. And what I loved so much about what Harms did with Run for Your Life was he immediately captured his first approach with Beasto, which was, how do I collaborate both Calico and Chuck? How do I get both their voices in this one tune? And also, I want these guys to approach music differently. I want them to approach arrangements and vocal melodies differently. He was going for just a complete different approach than what we've done from our other albums. So he just knocked it out of the ballpark for us, and it really made it fun. I think one of my favorite parts of that tune was hearing Chris going, well, this is where Calico would sing, and then he would sing this really high, like,
he would do his impression of me.
And I'm going,
and I go, I've never sounded like that in my lifetime.
He has no idea what he's in for. So it was cool.
That's
the best part is watching their faces on the other side of the glass. So he would ask me to do something, and I know what he really wanted, but he's not going to ask me to do it. So he's like, just give it some emotion. And I was like, oh, he thinks he's going to have to coach me into this. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a pink sweater and jeans, and I'm going, all right. And then, we're doing the Run for Your Life, and I just like screeched it out, and he's on the other end, and Chuck knows already, so he's standing there with his arms going right, and Chris Harms is like, because it was on the note on Run for Your Life, the big screech note, right, that I see, and he goes, just try and hold it as long as you can. And I go, I know what it is that you want me to do, so I'm just gonna cut through and do it. So I did it, and I'm sure the plan was like, okay, a little less precious, or like a little more this or that. And I was like, yeah, let's just do what we came here to do. So I screeched the note out, and he was just, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was actually the first song we tracked in the we recorded the record in Hamburg, Germany with Chris Harms, and we primarily did all the vocals there. And I think Run for Your Life was the first one we did. Day one, we went in there and knocked that one out, and then from there it's just all about building confidence with each other and the understanding that, hey, as a producer, Harms really felt like he had two people in the room with him that are willing to do whatever it takes to make a good record and are going to try new things. You're not going to tire us out. We'll be here as late as we need to be here, and we'll come in prepared. We would leave the studio and be writing lyrics and talking about the upcoming next day's session.
Well, there's no ego either. You know what I mean? There's no ego in who gets to sing more on this song, or who does this or who does that. It's just, we really wanted, and always have wanted, on We Are, on Beasto, on any of the records, it's been like, what tells this story the best, and how do we how do we come across? And because there isn't an ego, it's a really fun experience. Like, a lot of people I know in bands, that was a nightmare experience making that record. Like, everyone hates each other now. And I mean, it that's rarely our experience. Like, if Chris is doing guitars, right, Chuck and I will, be in the chairs in Snuggies at midnight going, no, wait. Okay, no, that's good. You know what I mean? Like, how sucky would that be if it came your turn to do something and everyone bailed because it's not their time? And for me, it helps when all the guys are in the room, because I perform for them. You know what I mean? I'm still performing for them. And it means more to me when those four guys go, oh my God, that was rad, than somebody I don't know saying like, oh, that was rad. Oops, sorry, someone's calling me. Someone called.
They can join in. Screw it. Like,
if you want to talk to my insurance company, by all means, maybe you can get some leeway.
I don't think you want me to do that. No.
Oh yeah, no, I'm nice here. I'm not nice on the phone.
Same.
Yeah. Speaking of no ego.
That's really, really cool that you guys mentioned that, because with balancing two lead singers, a lot of bands would not be able to do that. A lot of people, a lot of bands have trouble balancing two lead singers. How do you guys decide kind of who's going to take the lead on which songs and which parts? Or is that just like, we're feeling Calico on this, we're feeling Chuck on this? Like, how do you guys decide who sings what?
She'll come over to me, tap me on the shoulder, and be like, beat it. No, here's the thing, man. I think what we're all about is, how can we make the show the best it can be and the most entertaining it can be for the fans. It can't be about us. I think there's so much that I can get from Calico vocally and performance wise that it's really easy, because it's not just one box I can check off. There's a lot that she can do. There's a lot she can offer. I think the dynamic that you get from our two vocal styles and the way we really
you
sound like we belong together, but it's also so different that it's more fun live for us to perform these songs. And I think splitting it up is a way for us to look at it as it's very entertaining and sonically got to be radical for the crowds to have these just these two different characters singing, and we try to choose songs that are really different from each other. I wouldn't want to approach the songs that Calico sings on because she sells them so well, and vice versa. But it's for me, it's about building something that is so unique and so entertaining. And that's why I think it's important that Calico and I take these forward pushes and turn the microphone over to let her sing it. And because I have just as much fun, and this may sound weird, but I have just as much fun playing my guitar and dancing around on stage as I do singing. As a matter of fact, I sit there, she probably doesn't realize it, but I can sit here and watch her sing a song and do her thing, and I'm having the best time of my life just watching my partner killing it. And it's just a real proud moment I have with everybody. But first and foremost, it's all about the fans, and it's all about creating a live show.
Yeah, can I say though, something that really it just occurred to me right now. So you're in the presence of genius in this moment.
Oh, yes.
When you go see a musical, right? We never ask ourselves, like, it's not one person, one girl or one guy that sings the whole musical and then everyone else is behind them going, hey, yeah, what's up? You know what I mean? A good musical is like, damn, did you see that number where Chuck did his thing? And then you see the one where Calico, and then when they both had the duet, like, it's a musical. It's a heavy metal musical. And that's the way that we approach putting the show together, because we ride on the backs of geniuses like, Dio and Alice and things like that, where we cut our teeth. We learned a lot in that process. And one of the things that we learned is, there has to be dynamic. And for me, I saw an opportunity learning what we learned from Dio and learning what we learned from Alice, and being lucky enough to like be in the generation that saw Rocky Horror and everything. If Rocky Horror was all from, if it was all from Frankenfurter's POV, it's cool, but we'd be like, you need Meatloaf, you need the tap dance, you need that stuff. And that's, I think, the secret ingredient that, people can't seem to really put their finger on. And I think it's that we approach it musically like a heavy metal band and like a rock band, but structure wise, it's like a musical. There are these moments of like sadness, and there are these moments where you're cheering for them, and there's moments where we're not always rock stars. Like, there's songs where I'm defeated, like Lowlands. The way we're planning on performing it is I'm not singing it from a place of a lot of the other songs are just sort of like a haughty, in charge sort of whatever. I'm approaching it like, this is a different part of the show. This is a part of the show where you see a little bit behind the curtain what's going on in here, and I love that dynamic. And I just realized it's so much, the reason it works is because we look at it like a musical.
Yes. Yeah, it's great, Calico. Yes. And the thing is too, we've there may be songs on the record where I don't sing or she doesn't sing, but live we do. She may sing a verse on a song that she normally doesn't sing on the album, or vice versa. So it's like, you never know what you're going to get, and that's such a great analogy and a great comparison, Calico, to it being a musical, because that is exactly what it is. Interview done. We're out.
Boom. See ya.
Let's roll. You talked about being from the generation that learned from Alice, learned from Dio, learned from all of these cinematic, theatrical. It's more than just the music. It's an experience altogether. That's what your guys' music videos have been so far. Everything I've seen, it's more than just let's film us playing the instruments and singing the songs. These are like mini movies, very cinematic. They all tell a story. Like, how important is that for you guys? Because with especially the two videos so far, like, you almost have to watch these multiple times to really get a full understanding of what is going on in these music videos, because they're so intricate, so complex, and just so cinematic. It's an experience. Like, I love them.
Thank you. Don't you miss that? Like I missed when I was
Yes.
putting these visuals and the videos together. What I missed is when you used to go see a movie and then you'd like go out for pizza or whatever afterwards and you go, did you see in the background when this and this happened? And you go, oh no. So you'd have to go back again and see the
Hmm.
part in Aliens where if you look back there, you can see like I am a dork and I miss the fandom of, like reading comics and being like, oh, did you see back in the back of that frame where blah? And I love going back and watching things again and listening to things again. It's just a part of my childhood and my teen years that I just I love comic cons and I love horror cons because these people know intricate things like special interests are became uncool for a minute. Like what a dork, they love this one thing so much, and I just find a comfort and a heroism in it. Like when I'm in those horror cons, I'm looking around at a bunch of people that I can relate to surface wise, but also your brain works like my brain. I love this movie. And I'm not talking about I like it. I'm talking about I love it. Like there
Yes.
might be something wrong with me. So when I make these videos, I make them uh from my gaze, from if I were going to watch it, what would I what would I cut to now? And it's not always, I mean, film school, I did all the everything, right? But I don't do it. I would have flunked in both of those videos if I turned them in because they go, "Oh, you can't do that," or "That doesn't read," or whatever. And I think I like it.
Hmm.
I liked it. I like that shot. And they go, "Oh, it's old fashioned," or "Oh, the lighting is very 80s." Yeah, that was on purpose. You know what I mean? Like some of the epic moments are meant to be epic. Some of the like kind of cheesy sci-fi moments are supposed to be that. Like I'm not
Hmm.
sitting here going, I don't make mistakes, but it's nostalgia in a way that makes you feel like I want to go back and watch that again. That's my comfort video,
Yes.
like my comfort movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Calico's so great at telling stories, and not only does she doesn't just have an idea, she has the entire idea. She has what's going to happen from beginning to end, and she has a really good grasp of what it is she wants to do. And some of my favorite scenes in the Run for Your Life videos, we just watched the video with some of our friends while we were filming some more stuff at on their property, but they wanted to see what we'd already done, and we were watching Run for Your Life, and there's moments where like something would happen in the video and they would all be watching it and I would look over at her at the exact moment she would look at me, and we would just look at each other and smile because we knew what was either a weird about the edit or off about the shot or something that we knew took forever to get but we got it, or something that we know just a little bit about it. And
Yes.
it's really nice to know that there's these little hidden things that have happened because there was a lot involved in making these videos. But for the most part, I admire the fact that she has a really strong understanding of story. And I've watched those videos over and over again just because I am entertained, and it's a real thrill to know like that that's us in it.
Hmm.
And also on top of it, it leaves a little bit to the imagination for the fans because for me, I would want to know, well, I got to go see this band because I got to know what these guys are like in person. I want to
Yeah.
know who they are, like I want to get close enough to size them up.
Yes. I've
Well,
been
and
thinking that
about
for 5 years
on
now.
right, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. As far as ego goes too, when you like write, direct, produce, costume, makeup, set
Hmm.
design, like I did all those things, and you can tell that the ego is absent and it's for the greater good or for the band. When I was halfway through editing the video when I realized I wasn't in it. That's
Yeah.
how much I love the story. I don't come into
Nice.
Run for Your Life till halfway through, almost three-fourths of the way through, and it doesn't matter because the story was so good. These guys were carrying it not just fine, but great. And it's about the story and not about the ego. Same thing on records, same thing on videos, same thing on stage. So I'm editing it going, yeah, oh my God, oh, epic, oh yeah. And then we're at, 2.5 minutes, and I was like, I got to get out of the cell, right? And I'm trying to figure out how to get out.
Yeah. Right.
That kind of leads into another question I had, where going back to the just the lack of ego, and it's not about me, it's about the experience for everybody. I mean, I don't want to touch on it a lot, but spending so much time and so many years, obviously both of you around somebody like Alice Cooper, who it's not necessarily about me, it's about the experience, and there is no ego there whatsoever. I've never met him, but I've heard one of the most down-to-earth people ever. How much spending, obviously your whole life, Calico and Chuck, so much time around him and all of the bands that he's toured with, and time on stage and on tour with that production, taught you it's not about ego, it's not about me, it's about the fan and the experience of the show and the presentation.
Yeah, I've just got from hanging with Alice and hanging out with Calico and being part of their whole creative force, is that that there's just so much that could be on the table, and everything is looked at as like everything's looked at as a possibility. There is no thoughts of this is a bad idea. It's more of like, yeah, well, what if? So there's always a way to turn it around. And I can say this on behalf of Calico so many times, because in our early parts of our career, we would show up and props and things like that weren't around because they either got lost or stolen or left at the airport or whatever. So we would be, without this stuff. And I remember thinking, well, I wonder what she would do with that. And sure enough, she was like, yeah, bring it up. I'll figure out something to do with it. And Alice is like that. So what I've learned basically from Alice and Calico is, when something works, sell it and do it with authority. When something doesn't work, sell it, do it with authority, and don't even give them the chance to think that wasn't already planned.
Yes. 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 I would do a lot of work in pro wrestling, and one thing I always tell people is like, okay, it's an idea, and don't tell me how it's not gonna work. Let's try it and see if it's going to work or not. Because sometimes, like, it may be the most outlandish idea ever, and if you count it out, you may be eliminating something that may be one of the best things you've ever done that you had no idea was going to work. You try it, and holy crap. So don't tell me it's not going to work. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Do what we can. And if it doesn't work, we won't do it again. But if it works,
exactly. There's so many parallels between professional wrestling, rock and roll. I mean, we've always been in bed together, as far as like salesmanship of something and execution. And when you're asking about the Alice thing, it goes hand in hand with wrestling, where he's also and taught me to not be afraid. You don't always have to look like the hero in something, and know when it's your time to be a heel. And so, like, with the Alice thing, he taught me, like, there was, when we hang him or cut his head off or do the, the spikes through the thing, he's putting himself in danger. He's not saying, I'm going to be the tough guy that runs you through. He goes, no, I'll get in the contraption and you run me through. He knows about story. And I learned about story from him as far as give and take, right? Like, so when I was playing the nurse for all those years, I learned, okay, the easy button here is to play it sexy, right? I'll throw on a red wig. I'll be like, I don't know what's going on, right? And I said, but the fun button is, let me give the audience someone to hate more than Alice. Is that possible? And I asked him, I said, do you care if I don't play it like coy and like hot girl? And he goes, yeah, do whatever. And so I knew I was doing it right when people were throwing things at me. You know what I mean? And when Alice would break out of the straitjacket and get me with the thing, and I wasn't cute falling to the ground, I'm spitting and kicking and like baring my teeth and like bucking back on him. And the audience is going, kill her, kill her. And it's professional wrestling, right? I'm the heel and Alice is the guy. And so I've learned my place and how that works symbiotically, but then when I would do Only Women Bleed, I was gentle and no. And then he got to be the guy.
Right.
And it works. It works for us. It hits you in the satisfaction button when the heel becomes the hero and then the hero becomes the heel. That's why we love Game of Thrones, right? Like, it's like, what? Wait. And so Chuck and I have a really good interplay with each other of who's the boss, right? So I know just when I feel, and I can't describe it, and you might have felt it in wrestling. You can feel it in any job you do, where if I'm standing front and center on the ego riser and I'm having this big vocal moment and all eyes are on me, whatever, and I can feel that power. I can feel like I have the audience in the palm of my hand. I'll drop down unexpectedly, like down to my knees, and make it about Chuck, because it makes the audience go, you don't feel safe. You love that I'm giving it and taking it away. And now I'm going to take the power over to Chris. And now I'm going to take it over to Jan and give it away and be submissive and then dominant. And so by the end of it, you're like, did I just witness some kind of heavy metal orgy? Like, what happened? What happened?
I love that. Isn't it fun when you can just get an entire crowd to just like hate you sometimes and just like, isn't it a rush?
Chef's kiss, because it's a challenge for me, and I love it. I get off on it a little bit. Of you start the show loving me, right? Then I'll take you down into like you don't love me so much. I'll get a little impish and whatever. If I can bring you back from hating me, that's the Alice Cooper method. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But that's what I did learn from him is I want to take you as low as I can get you. You hate me, not even hate me, but like I'm just the sweatiest, like most bloody, most unattractive part of myself. I'm starting to get like kind of a little bit raw with the crowd, a little bit raw with the guys. If I can bring you back up by the end of the show, we end with the song called Breakdown. If I can bring you back from there, it's a sense of accomplishment and power that I cannot describe. It's crazy at the end to have the faces of the people in the crowd going, thank you for taking me on that journey. Because you went through my whole journey with me, right? Like, and you saw some really raw moments. Like, I cannot stand watching videos of myself. I don't know if Chuck feels the same. There are some musicians, and I will not name names, that after the show, they tape the show and then they watch the show that they just did.
I can't do that.
It does something for them.
I can't do it.
I can't, because, and for me, it's technically so smart, because obviously you can go like, ooh, this didn't work or this did. If I watch I'm in such a headspace of surrender and like in the moment that I do things that don't make me look as attractive or aren't as on key, or if I saw them, I go, oh, I'm never doing that ever again. But the audience loved it. It's not about me, right?
Yeah, you don't want to do.
Yeah.
What I love about that is I don't need, and I don't want for her and for us is anybody getting in their head. I need you to be free and not thinking of overthinking anything. And what Calico does so brilliantly is she just reacts to what's going on in the moment. And there's something so beautiful about that. And even though you'll see a picture and maybe they caught the wrong frame or the video doesn't quite sell it the way it happened live, because some of the greatest pictures in pop culture are snap of a second. I mean, the picture of Muhammad Ali standing over George Foreman. That moment is, if you look at the actual time frame and how that happened, it was just him backing up. That's all it was. He didn't go like this and pose for the picture.
Yeah.
She does that. She makes it, she reacts in a way that's unique and different every night because we're human. It's human experience, it's human expression. We really do rely on that a lot for ourselves, as well, to be performers up there, you know.
Well, let's go back to the upcoming record that's coming out July 20th, Kinetica. You're coming,
Yeah.
it's been what, 5 years since the last record. And obviously a lot of shit's gone down fucking everywhere,
Yeah.
Little
obviously,
bit.
but a little bit. It's
Yeah.
not the same world, but let's not go down that rabbit hole. But coming off of We Are, what did you guys want to do anything differently this time? What did you guys want to really, what is the headspace and the atmosphere of the band like going into Kinetica?
Yeah, I think our biggest thing was what we did the most was, Calico and I spent a lot of time together during that break, especially during the pandemic, and we spent a lot of time with each other talking about the band and visuals and what we love and what we don't love, how we want to do things differently. And I think we tackled that, and we did it with Kinetica. You're gonna get a completely different album than what you've got from Beasto in the past. Doesn't mean it's
Nice.
better or it's worse. It's different, and we're
Okay.
taking different avenues and different arrangement ideas and different sounds and different lyrics and different, just approach to the whole thing. It's still us, but we're not
Yeah.
just this one thing. We're not one dimensional. And I think that's what you're going to find with Beasto, is that it's just gotten better. We're a fine wine. We're a good, hearty stew, if you will. It's
Right.
going to be better when it sits in the pot for a little bit. And that's what we do. I mean, when Calico and I are hanging out and we're doing things, we're always talking creatively. And no matter what it is, even if it's not even directed towards Beasto, there's something that we'll get from our conversations. It could be a dream, it could be just the look of a place that we're at. So it's all these creative experiences that have happened over the last 5 years that you're getting with Kinetica.
Nice.
Yeah. And also we finally got Beasto's very homegrown, and we have, done all of our stuff and built all of our own things and built our fan base and whatever. And with this record, we got an invitation to the big boy table on this. And it was an opportunity where these producers are incredible. Beasto's never had a PR person. We've never had any of that. And it sort of seemed like, yeah, well, we're not really those people. And then I went, we aren't? Why not? Why wouldn't we want a broader scope? Why wouldn't we want people that wouldn't normally hear it? So we brought on some really integral, I will admit when I'm wrong, and I was one of the first people to say, we don't need an online person. We don't need PR. We don't need a great booking agent. We just need the songs and the show. And it's true. That's the base of everything. But
Yeah.
having these people come on and this label come on, I had imagined it would be a bunch of people telling me no. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had imagined that now that we're bringing all these cooks to the kitchen, they're going to say, "Oh, Calico, you can't say that. You can't do that.
They're going to
That's
do
not
it their
songs."
way. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you're on our dollar, you're on our way. And it was so not that, especially with COP, with our record label. We had one of the guys come to the Run for Your Life shoot, and at the end of it, he pulled me aside and he goes, "Did you really do all this by yourself?" And I said, "No." I said, "I did it with Chuck. I did it with Chris. I did it with Sean." I was like, these 5 people are making this possible to do. I can't do this. Can you imagine me being put in another band and being like, "Hey guys, here's what we're going to do." They'd be like, "Get bent." No way. But especially, and I mean, not to be like, super like feminist commentary, but it is a thing. I'm involved in a lot of things in LA, like production, and I have a production company, and I get told I'll no a lot, and strictly based on the fact that, like, is there a man that we can talk to about this? I'm like, you're looking at him, dude. Like, it's me. I did. And they go, "Yeah, but who directed this?" I go, "I did." Me. So, but
I'm the
label
man,
looked at-
man.
I'm the guy. Look at these guns. But I'm so indebted to the Beasto guys and COP and the record labels and everybody, because they didn't do what I thought they were going to do. They said
Right.
not only yes, but they go, "Can you do more? Do you have any more ideas?" I was like,
Yes.
"What?" And
That's
so
refreshing.
we ended up doing, oh my gosh, we ended up doing 11 videos for all 11 songs because they let me. They let me tell a story. And then at the end of it, I said, "Hey, I want to make this into a film, a movie where all the videos make sense." And I waited for the email and I got the email back. Go for it. Yes. So that's what we're working on now.
I'm so excited. I don't know if you can tell.
We're never stopping. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
awesome, man. I
yeah, man.
love it. Yeah,
Right
this stuff is so good, guys. I cannot wait for the record. It's coming out in just about a month and a half from now. I cannot wait. What I've heard so far, man, if what else is coming is anywhere near what I've heard so far, we're in for a ride. So it is
Yeah,
going to be
Thanks so
awesome.
much.
It's gonna be great.
You guys are hitting
Thanks
the
for
road.
having us, bro. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Thank you.
Hitting the road this fall, so all that stuff, festivals, it's getting started. Guys, thank you so much for taking time today. This has been amazing. So
Yeah, it's been nice talking to you.
absolutely. Chuck, we'll see you over the summer with Alice and Zombie Calico. Hopefully we'll see you out on the road with Beasto and Chuck. Cannot wait.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome, guys. Congrats on everything. Have a great afternoon.